Thanks for taking a few minutes with me today. What I want to do in this short overview is show you a financial blind spot that most people don't notice until something serious happens. This isn't about pressuring you to buy anything today, it's about helping you understand where the gaps may be, what options exist, and how to protect both your income and your family more effectively. Because most people think they're covered until they look closer. Most people I talk to fall into one of three categories. They either have coverage through work, they have an older personal policy they have not reviewed in years, or they have nothing in place yet. The problem isn't which category you're in. The problem is that any of those can still leave major gaps if the coverage is not designed for real life. So, this is less about whether you have something and more about whether what you have actually does the job. Most people think life insurance is only about death. But the bigger financial threat for many families is not dying too soon. It's staying alive after a serious health event and dealing with lost income, rising expenses, and financial pressure all at once. That's where a lot of families get blindsided. So the goal is not just to protect against one event, it's to protect against the financial consequences of either outcome. Now there are really two financial risks every family faces. The first is passing away too soon and leaving your family with bills, obligations, and a loss of income. The second is surviving a serious health event that reduces your ability to earn while expenses continue or even increase. Most people only plan for the first one. Very few are protected properly for the second. And that second risk is often the one that creates the most stress financially. This is where financial plans usually break. Income slows down or stops, but the mortgage doesn't stop. Rent doesn't stop. Car payments don't stop. Food, utilities, childcare, medical costs, all of that keeps going. So what happens? Savings start getting used up, credit cards go up, debt builds, stress goes through the roof. That's why having the right protection matters. It gives people options when they need the most. Traditional term life insurance is often viewed as protection only if you pass away. And while that's important, it can leave a major gap if you experience a qualifying health event and need financial access while you're still alive. That's the one-sided problem. People assume they're protected, but in reality, they may only be protected in one scenario. So the question becomes, how do we protect both sides? A better question is not just, do I have life insurance? A better question is, does my coverage help me if life does not go according to plan? Does it protect my family if I die too soon? And does it help protect my finances if I live through something serious? And that is the shift families need to make. This is where modern term life insurance has evolved. Today, some term coverage includes living benefits, which means it's not only built for one outcome. It can provide access during certain qualifying health events while keeping the simplicity of term coverage. So instead of just protecting your family after death, it may also support you during a critical time while you are living. Here's a simple version of how living benefits work. If you experience a qualifying health condition, depending on the policy terms, you may be able to access a portion of the death benefit early. That money can then be used however you need it. It could help with bills, medical related costs, household expenses, or simply creating breathing room during a difficult season. And that is what makes the difference. It turns life insurance into a more usable financial tool. Coverage, benefits, rates, and eligibility depend on age, health, underwriting, and the policy terms. Not everyone qualifies. So, what can this help with in real life? First, income replacement. If your ability to work changes, money may be needed to keep things stable. Second, medical costs. Even with health coverage, out of pocket expenses can add up fast. Third, protecting savings. Instead of draining the money you worked hard to build, this can help create another source of support. For example, if someone has coverage that only pays after death, that may do nothing to help if they're diagnosed with a serious condition and need financial support while recovering. That's the gap many people don't see. That's the real value. Most people don't ignore this because they don't care. They delay because they assume their work coverage is enough, or they think they already handled it, or they feel like they will deal with it later. But later is where problems usually start, because the longer people wait, the more likely it is that age, health, or life changes affect what is available to them. So delay does not usually come from lack of need, it comes from false confidence. Timing matters for a very practical reason. Rates and eligibility, they're based largely on your age, health, and underwriting at the time you apply. So waiting is not neutral. Waiting can mean fewer options, higher pricing, or changes in what you qualify for. That's why the best time to review options is usually before there's a problem, not after. Com- and again, coverage and rates depend on age, health, and underwriting. Not everyone qualifies. When people wait, three things usually get worse. First, options. Fewer choices may be available. Second, pricing. Coverage can cost more as time goes on. And third, approval odds. Health changes can affect eligibility. So the cost of waiting isn't always obvious today, but it can become very obvious later. That's why reviewing your options now puts you in a stronger position. I want to be clear, this is not about making a rush decision today. It's all about clarity. And my job is to help you understand what you may qualify for, how this type of protection works, and whether it fits your needs and budget. Then you can make an informed decision based on facts, not assumptions. The next step is simple. We do a quick one on one review, about 10 minutes, and look at your personal rate and options based on your situation. No pressure, just clarity on what may be available to you and whether it makes sense to move forward. If it does, great. If it doesn't, at least you'll know where you stand. So let's go ahead and get your rate and options reviewed. Will later today or tomorrow be better for a quick one on one? Okay, so text book to 323 305 9890 and we'll schedule a quick chat. Have a great day.